much for coming on National Report today. I just wanted to get your comment, of course, on this news, this terrible shooting on July 4th. The parade shooting suspect purchasing 5 weapons despite those threats, consisting of wanting to kill everyone at his home in 2019, also wanting to commit suicide later this year. But get this, the state police saying, quote, there was insufficient basis to establish a clear and present danger at the time. Congressman, what do you make of that?
Well, Emma, thanks for having me on. This is such a tragedy. And again, as you said, it could have been prevented. I'm really disappointed and heartbroken that the family didn't step up, because he clearly was a danger. I mean, it seems the police got there and the family said, oh, he's fine, he's not going to harm anyone. And he said that as well. But then what were the police doing at his home? Clearly, he was a threat to his family and to the public. And this, again, could have been prevented. The laws, if the laws that are already on the books were enforced, he probably wouldn't have obtained firearms, at least legally.
I wanted to ask you about that, because we've heard so much following these mass shootings that we've seen recently. There have been calls on Congress to act, right, to come forward with legislation that would prevent these shootings from happening again. We saw recently the president signing this bipartisan so-called gun safety bill into law there. Might not have applied in this case, because clearly this individual was still able to obtain the weapon. But what do you think of it going forward, sir? And is there more that Congress can do to step up?
Well, if Congress, we don't want to disarm law-abiding citizens either. That seems to be the Democrats' answer, is to just simply take guns away from nearly everyone, or make it incredibly difficult for law-abiding citizens to own firearms, because we're all safer when law-abiding citizens have firearms. And I don't, quite frankly, want the federal government to be involved in this. I'd like to see the states. I think this is, quite frankly, an issue that should be addressed state by state, provided those states do not infringe upon the Second Amendment rights because those are constitutionally protected rights of our citizens.
Sure. Maybe the expanded background check for those underage might have applied to this individual case. We'll have to wait and see, of course, how the bipartisan law will be implemented going forward here. If we could, sir, let's pivot now to another topic that's really impacting your community, this being the southern border. We saw yesterday several counties in Texas declaring an invasion during the border crisis, and they want the Texas governor to also recognize it. What do you make of your fellow Texans? I know you don't represent these counties in particular here, but really calling on Governor Abbott to act.
Well, you know what? I think they're great Americans. And Emma, let's just look at the tale of the tape, if you will, and ask you and your viewers, is this an invasion? We had, since Joe Biden took office, 2.9 million illegal border crossings, 700,000 known gotaways. So that's 3.6 million people in a year and a half. That's more than the population of 22 United States. We had the record number of illegal border crossings in April, all-time high of 234,000. But it was only broken when May's numbers came out, and it was 240,000. Now, to put that in context, the last time President Trump was in office in April and May, it increased tenfold. It was 1,258% increase year over year for the 2 years in April, and 930% in May. So clearly, the border has the crossings have exploded. It's a de facto open border because of Joe Biden's failed left-wing and really far-left policies. So I think it is an invasion. I would encourage the governor to declare that and expose the fact that the federal government and Joe Biden have abdicated their responsibility. It's a gross dereliction of duty, and something needs to be done.
Yeah, and again, these are local counties as well. You've got local sheriffs who are stepping up and calling on the governor to act just so they can get additional assistance that they need for their men and women who are servicing their communities. I want to stay on the border for a second. The Daily Caller reporting this. Some Republicans in Congress are looking for answers as to why the Biden administration is purging Trump immigration judges. One of those saying, quote, the dismissal of immigration judges on purely political grounds is unprecedented, and it should cause concern for anyone who values border security and the rule of law. These are some of your GOP colleagues who are asking the president and his administration about why this is happening now. What do you think about this, Congressman?
Well, yeah, if I'd seen that letter, I would have signed on to it too, because we're in desperate need of immigration judges. When you have this many people crossing the border, we had 1,060,000 pounds of narcotics seized on the border. That's how wide open it is right now. The drug cartels are making record profits. 7,000 pounds of fentanyl were seized, which is enough to kill every man, woman, and child about 10 times over. And, Joe Biden has incentivized folks to come across the border illegally when he doesn't enforce the migrant protection protocols, the Wait Mexico, better known as the Wait Mexico policy. And so unfortunately, it's going to get even worse. It's far worse now than it was last year when some of the mainstream media actually covered it. It's not a border crisis. It's a border catastrophe. And we desperately need these immigration judges to process this record number of illegal crossings.
All right. We'll keep an eye on this story. Of course, Newsmax is there, and we're live from the border pretty frequently. And we appreciate you taking the time this morning. That is Texas Congressman Pat Fallon joining us, sir. Thanks you so
Emma.
much.
God bless.
You too. Thank you. All right. Meantime, the Department of Justice is suing Arizona to block a law